This is just disgusting. When people say, you know, live your life, do what you want, and I'm all for that. You want to, whoever you love, whoever you want to be with, whoever you want to be, that's fine. I don't have to celebrate it. I don't have to take it. I don't have to put up with it. I could get angry at certain things. And here's a transgender woman, a man, who's part of, remember Hannah Gadsby, the comedian, the lesbo comedian from Australia? And she would get on stage. Her first big special was her, I've been a few times, and I try to make light of it. It was just not funny, and the audience is full of these dopes, and they're laughing, and it was terrible. Hannah Gadsby, terrible. So I don't know how, but she got a name for herself, and people want to give her specials. So she does these specials now with other people. It's Hannah Gadsby, but if that wasn't obnoxious and mentally ill enough, she carts along a few pals, and you know they're going to be nuts. So here's this, and they take to the stage, and look at this. Look at this guy. Look at this man. And, well, let's just listen, shall we?
Factory default vaginas are the divine gateway of life. Our species could not exist without them. I will never take that away from you because I don't want to. And also, there are plenty of things an aftermarket vagina can do that a stock vagina cannot.
Ugh.
Like destroy the fabric of Western civilization as we know it.
Pause. Ugh. Woo! The audience. Yeah. How is your Franken that has been bent, folded into a useless meat pocket, something that gets infected and smells, and you got to shove a metal pipe up there to keep it open? Because nature, your own body, knows what it is, a wound that it's trying to seal up. Your own body is fighting against that fucking hatchet wound, that dick, that some unscrupulous surgeon mangled. Your body is trying its damnedest to fix that injury. That's what happens. Hi, this is Anthony Cumia.
Hello, I'm Gavin McInnes.
And together we're Compound Censored.
And we would like you to subscribe with this deal using this promo code right below me right now.
Do it, because it's very entertaining. That's exactly what happens. Your own body, nature itself. They all talk about science. Oh, yes, science. Oh, men are men, women are women. Oh, well, that's not what science says. You know what science says about this pussy that you call it? It's a fucking wound made by someone that isn't supposed to do harm to a human body, surgeons. And nature, science, your own body is using all of its resources to seal up that wound, to make it right again. And it's a, is it? You ain't calling that a. I know what a is. And sir, that is no. I've worked with pussies. Pussies have been my friend. That, sir, is not a. That was uncalled for, Senator. Only my. And what did it do to the fabric of Western civilization? We laugh at you. We make fun of you. And when we do have a serious take, it is that we don't want you participating in women's sports because it's just unfair as fuck to the women. There are these girls that have gone their entire lives from the time they could walk. They have been prodigies, sports prodigies, track and field, swimming, softball. And they work very hard to the best of their abilities. Their parents spend time and money taking them to practice for these sports. They forego a social life a lot of times. And the thing that drives them is their greatness. I want to be in the Olympics. I want to be a track and field star. I want to set world records. And they work very hard their entire lives. There are old videos of them that their parents take of these girls, skating and doing other sports from the time they could walk. And there they are in their teen years, ready to make that next step in competitions that will perhaps bring them to the Olympic Games. And some fucking guy on a whim, maybe 2 years earlier, decided he's going to be a girl and enter this sport and dominate. So when people go, what does it matter to you, Anthony? That's just, it's unjust. It should matter to everybody. Everyone should have a problem with this. But they don't, because again, they've been told they can't have a problem with it. They need to embrace and celebrate. And like I said many times, the word tolerant, that's gone. That just meant to tolerate it. Don't throw rocks at it when it's walking down the street. Be a little tolerant. All right, I could be tolerant. Don't ask me to accept and celebrate and cheer this fucking insane injustice that's being perpetrated against actual women. So, they do shit like that. And did that fuck up the fabric of Western civilization? No, like I said, we laugh at you, and then we take certain things seriously and we pursue it in courts of law. We aren't violent people, for how much they want to say that the right is violent against trans people. No. Look at the stats, people. I've done it. It's very easy these days to put something in a search, and AI can search Google much better than you can, and you will get the statistics of the people that are perpetrating violence against transgender women, men. And that is people of color, mostly black men, Hispanic men. They are the ones murdering the vast majority of transgender people that are being murdered. So it's not the people that are saying, hey, we don't want transgender men in women's sports. When they say, no, we're going to do this anyway, we don't decide we're going to kill them. They're murdered by people of color because people of color, at some time, they get a little horned up. They see a big ass on a trans woman, man, and they get into some sexual promiscuity. And then once they shoot their load, the feelings of guilt and humiliation are a little too much, and the only solution is murder. This happens time and time again. Time and time again. This is the world we're living in. The fabric of Western civilization is not being torn down from your surgically inflicted wound. And to call it it's disgusting. It really, the first time I watched this clip, and I've only watched it one other time, and then I put it on the show, it gave me a visceral feeling of disgust, that thing, that fucking mess that's trying its damnedest to heal itself, as you put a pipe in there to prevent your body from doing its natural, scientific, biological job. All right, let's listen to a little more.
Who does that? Only my pussy can murder the little baby Jesus before he even has a chance to start an apocalyptic death cult and ruin the world. That's miracle pussy. That is how I define good pussy.
To Allah, to Muhammad.
I do also realize, of course, that last joke may offend some Christians. And it is very important to me that you know that I don't care.
Yeah, we know. You're offensive just walking around. You're offensive trying to force people to accept that mess. And of course, we all know Christianity is the punching bag of religions. We get it. What about the crusade? All right, Mr. fucking 1600s, 1500s. Shut up. 1200s. They all rip up the crusade. Enough. Christianity, you could get these disastrous freak shows up on stage, and because Christians in their religion, they don't accept that. They don't accept that. They do see it as offensive to the religion, to God. And that's part of the religion. Islam, they hurl you off of rooftops. You wouldn't even get that far. When you still had your fucking balls before you paid a surgeon to take a machete and a weed whacker to it, you would just be a gay man and they would murder you. They would bury you up to your chest and throw rocks at you or haul you up to a rooftop of some fucking Savage Flintstones building and throw you off. Why no jokes about Islam or Muhammad? Oh, my Muhammad would look at my, because you'd be dead. They will kill you. But Christianity is known to be that religion that we turn the other cheek. We get mad, but we turn the other cheek. We're not going to really go after you. I've had Christianity go after me. Catholicism, the Opie and Anthony Sex for Sam at St. Pat's Cathedral thing, that didn't bode too well. They were angry and offended at what we did, and they made their anger known to our bosses at WNEW, and we got fired. That happens. But I certainly don't think even what we did was as offensive as some of the stuff they do. And it's what it is. But that mess getting up there and crowing about its fucking meat pocket wound. It's fucking disgusting. But that's what we get. That's our fucking, that's what we got to celebrate. So there's some other transgender story here. Let's see where that is. Transgender. Oh, here's a they're yelling at some ICE agents. This is a good example of the man. You're a man. All of them are men, except for the 25 that I've said. There are 25 true transsexual people on Earth. It's a genetic anomaly whose odds are astronomical. almost statistically impossible. And there are a few of them on the planet. Everyone else is a fucking mental patient. And when you get these men that put on some women's clothing, they take hormones until they get bitch tits, they put on a wig or grow out their male pattern baldness to get a skullet like riffraff. You know, they become soldiers for the cause. And if you don't gender them properly and call them men, they get mad. They get mad. And truth is, they're not even trying. These aren't passable by any stretch of the imagination. They don't try to put their voice higher. And their attitude, the way they carry themselves, their hostility is pure male. It's a man. They are not acting like women at all. If you're professing to be a woman, well, then be a woman. They have certain attributes. They carry themselves a certain way. And you're not doing that. You're just a man dressed in a Halloween costume. And they decided, this one decided anyway, they were going to protest ICE because they're always protesting something. So it's a double thing here. It's presenting a transgender woman, a man, being a man. And it's this dumb protesting that the libs do constantly. Just watch this.
You got a whole city out here telling you to get and you can't listen. This is not a whole city. Oh, I'm sorry. Mine's like 5 people who don't get
Yeah! Look at that thing. That's just a guy. That's a guy at Comic-Con cosplaying something. A guy getting into a conflict at a bar. Yeah, you motherfuckers. That's guy energy right there. More than a lot of the guys that are there. A lot of the beta fruits that go to these protests, they're not even as manly as that trans woman is. That I even had to say that is fantastic. Getting the Robert Kardashian. Remember Robert Kardashian from OJ? Getting the Robert Kardashian look. Yeah, so that's a guy. Yeah, fuck it. And we don't want you here. That's always a big thing when they protest. We don't want you here. Your group of 10 people. Yeah, there it is. I got the Robert Kardashian. He had a great head of hair. Look at that hairline. That widow's peak is almost between his fucking eyebrows. There it is. Yeah, he got the nice gray. He knew. He knew. He knew the whole time OJ murdered his wife and her friend. From the fucking second he heard, he knew 100%. He's the one that got rid of the knife and the clothes that was in the bag. He was the one that looked completely shocked when the jury said that Orenthal James Simpson was found not guilty. Kardashian's face was, I think his hair turned gray like that overnight. Like when Moses went and saw the burning bush. Oh my God. Anyway, Robert Kardashian. He knew. He fucking knew. So yeah, they're saying we don't want you here, meaning ICE in these various cities like Chicago. And the crowds have been a lot smaller. Have you noticed? Have you noticed this, people? Have you seen this story, people? It's It's working. This is working. These these would have been riots. These would have been these protests would have been accompanied by arson, assaulting the officers, vandalism, looting, all the features that we saw during the George Floyd thing. Now, the difference with the George Floyd thing is that the police were constantly being told to stand down and not do anything. So the protesters knew that they could show up in numbers and do whatever the fuck they wanted. Spray paint shit, throw fireworks, start cars on fire, tip over cars. One of the precinct buildings in Portland, I believe, was completely destroyed. It's still closed down. And they knew nothing would happen. So every night of these protests, more people would show up. And we all remember the line of police officers, and they're just standing there. Some of them have the shields. Some of them wearing their helmets, their riot masks. And these fuckers were right in their faces. You motherfucker, you fucking pig, you fascist. And the cops are just, they were told, you just stand there. Don't do anything. And the next night, people are like, this is awesome. It's so much fun. We go, we throw things at the cops, we burn a few things, and we go home. Well, this is different. ICE and the Border Patrol and the National Guard, who have been called to a few of these cities to make sure nothing happens to these law enforcement officers trying to do their job and find and deport illegal aliens, they're not doing the same thing. They are tossing these fuckers around and arresting them. They're being taken to jail. And that'll weed out a crowd pretty quick. Most people aren't very courageous. They're not really into the cause to the point where jail is a good trade-off for what they're doing, for their wonderful job. You know, they're saving our society and they're fighting the fascism. Yeah, that's fun when you can throw things at the cops and they don't do anything. When they start hauling you off to jail, a lot of them disappear. And then you just get a few hardcore lunatics, the fucking idiots, the ones that really want to cosplay. But their crowds are way down. And the power to destroy and burn things, it just isn't there. So the cops stand around, they keep a dozen people at bay. When one of them gets a little fucking rambunctious, they put the zip ties on him and take him around back and arrest him. So that's good to see. It's good to see that change, because watching all that shit go down during the George Floyd riots was pathetic, disheartening. It was not good for morale in this country. And we were saying, why aren't they doing anything? You'd see those cops standing there just taking shit from little fucking worms that were coming up to them. And now not so much. They're not walking up to their face and yelling. That's for sure. It's refreshing, isn't it? Yes, it is. Oh, here's just some chanting lib dolts. This is Chicago. Chicago has been really against Donald Trump sending in the National Guard and other law enforcement agencies on top of the National Guard to do the job that needs to be done in Chicago. Getting the illegals and, protecting the people from the unbelievable thug crime going on in Chicago. And Mayor Johnson and Governor Prichter, they don't want him there. They don't want Trump to do anything. They say they're handling it. No, they're not. They're not. There's murders going on every evening in Chicago. So, of course, the dummies, the brainwashed, the cultists, and they turn around and project. They're like, oh, MAGA is a big cult. Are we marching around in unison, chanting old political slogans from the Obama era? Whose streets? Our streets. No Trump, no KKK, no fascist USA. Wouldn't you be embarrassed to be marching with people that you assume are of like mind and you have to shout what the lead guy is saying and thinking that's making any fucking difference with anything? And it only makes you look like a pawn, like a cult member in this big organism of dopes marching down the street. That's what you are. So let's get a little look at them. It's the usual shit from the usual suspects. Stop police crimes. Proud daughter of an immigrant. There's Hitler, Trump, stop the, and then there's a sign with 80 things written on it. Stop mass abductions. Stop the Trump America. Chicago for Palestine. Stop the Trump agenda. That's all the same signs. Someone's printing these up. The Black Lives Matter on the old dumb white guy. Palestinian flags. No Nazis. They're all so disjointed and stupid. Occupation is a crime. That's an Israel thing. The upside down flag. ICE out. Stop police crimes. Free them all. What? ICE out of Chicago. Armed kidnapping. Look at this old boomer bitch with a walker. Melt ice. Fuck yeah, that's a good one. Holy shit. That could be a bumper sticker. No kings, no Trump. No. Yeah, there it is. No Trump, no KKK. What KKK? What fucking KKK? Fascist USA. There's not one thing Trump is doing that is against the rights of anybody. Fascism. If you want to see fascism, there would have been a fucking A-10 warthog strafing that street. But no, you're allowed to go out and protest your dumb fuck protests, your fucking marionette cult chanting. I personally, I would be embarrassed to march and yell things out with everyone else at the same time because someone with a bullhorn is yelling it out. It shows a weak mind. They are weak-minded, easily manipulated and influenced. They don't have lives that are productive or rewarding to them. If you have a life that you're rewarded by, you don't do things like that. You'd rather do something that's more rewarding. Spending time with loved ones, working on your career, building something. The people that are available to march and chant down the street are very miserable people. And if they're told they could be part of something, they jump right in. They jump right in head first. And they're chanting and carrying the signs, and it's useless. It doesn't do anything. And they're not the majority of this country. When people talk about the protests during the Vietnam War, we ended the war, man. No, you didn't. While the protests were, in some cases, giant, huge protests in D.C., especially, but there were protests in every state, and they were big and they were ugly, some of them. But it wasn't until the tipping point where the majority of Americans felt that the war had to end. The Vietnam War was unwinnable. It was a quagmire. It was a stalemate. And, you know, it was very hard for a lot of Americans who were very proud of their country. They weren't hippies. They were very proud of their country, and they had faith in their government, and they believed what the government was telling them, and they saw a need to thwart communism in Southeast Asia because that was going to be a domino falling, and then the next one to fall, and the next one, and before you know it, there are a shitload of communist countries around, and those are all potential bases and launching points for other communist takeovers of countries, and maybe even the United States. So when the majority of people were able to weigh that out, and the war, the toll that the Vietnam War took, started to outweigh whatever benefits the government was telling us and we were believing, and maybe even at one time it was a legitimate concern. When that happened, and more than half the country, a lot more by the early 70s, had thought, you know, we were done. We got to get out of there. And that's when the real effort to end the war happened, because elections hinge on that, you know. Nixon needed to be the president that ended the Vietnam War so he could get reelected. And that's kind of what happened. The hippies always, you know, they brought it to people's attention. Their protests were half-assed and disjointed like the ones we see here. There were, you know, the Black Panthers getting involved is like Black Lives Matter, and the Palestinian thing. It's like the Tibetan monks and China. And they just throw everything at the wall, see what sticks. And these people don't understand. They're not doing anything. This is useless. You're going out there and marching and yelling and signs. It is useless and does absolutely nothing. No one in what they would deem the opposition, MAGA, Trump, what have you, is altering the course of what they want, what their agenda is, because of some dopes marching down a street. Ain't happening. It's not stopping anything. But they keep going. They're idiots. Chicago has another thing that's pretty funny. They have black people. Well, they have black people that think that if Trump tries any shenanigans with the National Guard and ICE and whatnot in Chicago, look out. We ain't Washington, D.C. We ain't fucking Memphis, Tennessee. We are Chicago. And you ain't going to come in here and pull that shit because what? Your dumb little gang is going to rise up against the fucking National Guard and ICE and the Border Patrol. Buck. You're going to open fire because that's really the only thing you can do. Anything else, we've seen what they do. if someone gets in their faces, throws something, tries to punch them, they throw them on the ground and zip tie their arms and cart them off to jail. So what is the thuggery in Chicago going to do that couldn't be done in D.C. or Portland or Memphis or anywhere else? What's so special about your Chicago thugs? The only thing I can imagine is that they're kind of hinting that they will shoot. They will fire weapons at the various law enforcement agencies and the National Guard. This would be a huge mistake. So if you enjoyed that clip,
then subscribe to Compound Censored using this promo code.